What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of HawksNest. I'm your host, as always, Riley Feenan. You guys can follow me at Big Canada 79. I'm joined by Matty Will. What's going on, Matty?
What's up, everyone?
You guys can follow him at MattyDub82. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. It means a lot to us as we are continuing to grow the channel, and we're really enjoying this. Guys, hit the subscribe button, interact with us. And as always, go Hawks.
Well, we had training camp start off this week. We had our first day of training camp yesterday with the second day is ongoing. Mini training camp. Yeah, thank you.
Let's get mini camp. Rookie mini camp.
Rookie mini camp. Fuck me. Got to be specific out here for the boys.
Yeah, gotta be specific. Someone will be like, it's not training camp.
Yeah, it's you know what we mean. Man.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It's training. It's training camp. It's football, regardless. That's what we're excited about.
The highlight of the day seemed to be Darrell Taylor. I didn't watch much of camp. You sent me some highlights. I caught Pete's post-camp press conference there. He had a lot of great things to say. He was enthusiastic. So it seems like Darrell Taylor is moving into that Sam position, and they're putting that leg injury behind him. We were all kind of worried about that.
Well, that's what, we had a chance to sit down with Rob Stanton before the draft, right? Obviously, yeah. And then he was kind of downplaying and saying that Darrell Taylor was kind of out of the mix, and we're just hoping to get him on the field. But I was kind of excited from what we were hearing from some of our counterparts over here. So Darrell Taylor getting back on the field was really exciting. He looks like he's out there, and he looked excited. He looked really happy. I had an interaction with Brady Henderson yesterday, and I was just like, he just looks excited to be back on the field. They basically had to drag him off the field yesterday. In post game, he's like, I just didn't want to leave the field. I was so excited to be back out there to play football and to be able to do that. So now he's a little bit skinnier, he's a little bit slimmer, but he was primarily focusing on the D end and the Sam linebacker position, which we all know is the KJ Wright. KJ Wright's old position. So as we reported earlier, and if you guys have been following us on Twitter, that KJ Wright and Darrell Taylor, that could be something that's going to happen. Pass rushers all over the defense. I think Darrell Taylor getting on the football field is fantastic. Him being able to learn from guys like Carlos Dunlap and all the pass rushers that are in the football field or within the Seahawks organization, I think it's going to be awesome.
I do too. And Pete kind of said yesterday they're doing a lot of crossover with that Sam and Leo position. They're trying in this mini training camp, and I'm sure we'll see it when the official training camp starts. The guys are going to kind of flop between those to see how much crossover there is, whether a guy can stay on the field and just transition down to that Leo spot on a pass rushing situation and still has the ability to drop back into coverage when he's asked to. And Pete Carroll seemed to think that Darrell Taylor is that guy. He really complimented his athleticism and his ability to play coverage. So I think just based on what we saw yesterday, and it's still really early, but it seems like Darrell Taylor is going to be our starting Sam linebacker. He seems to fit that role really well.
I don't know if that's the beauty of what goes on right now in the offseason where we're at, is that guys like you and me get all excited about one day and all of a sudden we're starting Darrell Taylor at the Sam position for week 1 against the Colts, and it's just like,
well, really? Who else do we have? What else? You guys imagine it's a rotational position. That start doesn't mean that he's going to play every down. It doesn't, you know what I mean? They're going to switch the defenses up. I don't like putting that starting title on it because it doesn't necessarily mean he will be in the starting 11. Obviously that's the goal and if he does have a good solid training camp, yesterday was a fantastic starting point. He looked explosive. It didn't look like his leg was bothering him. It looked like he was back out on a football field where he felt comfortable and back in his kind of zone. And that's where I just want to kind of just leave it at, because one step at a time, this guy did just miss an entire year because of really, we don't know. So, we got to leave it at that, and we got to go. I guess you're right.
Right. So starting him.
I'm just looking at our linebackers, bro. You got Cody Barton. Are we gonna start Cody Barton?
Yeah, apparently that's what people want to do.
That's what I've been seeing as well as Cody Barton, but I don't think he has that pass rush ability.
No, I don't think he's a threat. I think he's just a solid. I think he's a solid linebacker. I think he's very solid in his role. But Brooks, Jordan, JB brings his speed and his talent, and he's explosive, and he brings his big playability. Bobby's just been solid his entire career, but he's also good in coverage, and he's also very, very solid in the run game. Mm-hmm. Cody Barton and the chances that he's been given, I'm not trying to slag on the guy, but I'm just not sold on him. I'm not a huge fan. It's much like Brandon Shell. I just think he's a guy that's been on the roster for a while, but he's hasn't panned out, and
Yeah, I think he's a solid depth piece, and like you said, he's been on the roster a long time. He's familiar with the program, and there's no reason to see him go anywhere. I like him being on the sidelines, but I don't want to see him start. And as I look around, it just seems too perfect to see Darrell Taylor penciled in on that number 1 spot. At least in certain situations, he's going to get a lot of playing time.
I think this Sam position will I think there's going to be some things coming out of this mini camp that they're like, oh, okay, well, maybe we do have a little bit of something here with Darrell Taylor, and then they're going to address the KJ situation. You're kind of on the side of, no, they're just waiting until training camp's up so they don't have to show up for camp and preseason games and be in the building and have to go through the grueling days of training camp, which, Sherman and KJ Wright are guys that the Seahawks have been tagged to and been talked about. So those guys would earn that, right? I would say, like if they wanted to skip out and wanted to.
Yeah, if KJ Wright comes back, he's obviously the starting linebacker.
Right.
And then Darrell Taylor is no longer penciled in at that 1 slot.
No,
he might still get some playing time, and hopefully they do develop him in that way. But KJ Wright's the guy then.
It could just be KJ he just falls into our laps, and it's just like he wants to play a couple more years, and it's just at this point, is it really worth leaving where you're at for whatever? I don't know, but I'm excited for Darrell Taylor. I'm excited for minicamp. I'm excited for football players being on a football field and jerseys, and Pete being back out there, and we're it's football, and it's not analytics and film and all this crap. It's football, and we're actually talking about
no more
the 2021 season. No, there's no more guessing. We don't have to guess.
That's right.
Let's do this.
So keeping it on that topic, man, we got Colts Nation week 1.
Colts Nation's not happy with your boy.
Dude, Colts Nation is not happy with you. Let's bring it up here.
Well, I just want to get this out of the way that when I was tweeting this out, I saw his tweet first. So I saw Colts coverage tweet out this, kind of week 1 matchup, and they're like, blah, 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 and they're saying what they want to say. And I'm like, you guys have question marks too. Like, we have question marks. We have our faults. I'm okay with that. We can self-address. I am very self-aware of what our problems were last year. However, when I did see this, we're self-aware of what's going on, and we can but we're different kind of fans. We're player guys. We know what we're watching, and we know what football, what good football players are and stuff like that. So we're self-aware. However, it doesn't seem that Colts fans were self-aware of what their faults are and what their issues are, and their glaring holes that have not been filled. If a true fan would know that the Seahawks have actually addressed the offensive line positions. They were very good in defense towards the end of the year. They are very good against the run, which is what everyone keeps bringing up. They're like, oh, offensive line, we have a great run game, all these running back. Okay, that's fantastic. The Seahawks were, I believe, in the last final 8 weeks, were number 1 in sacks, and were a top 10 defense in the NFL in the final 8 weeks of the season. So we closed it out. Did we lose to the Rams in an awful way? Yep. Did we do a lot of stupid stuff? Yep. Did Russell Wilson complain? Yep. Did we do all that stuff? Like, yeah, but we're self-aware of all that. At the end of the day, Colts Nation was coming at me and saying all this stuff about, oh, you guys, Russell Wilson's going to leave. But Carson Wentz Like, look in the mirror. Carson Wentz, we just had him on Monday Night Football, and if you want to show you what an example of what you had, there it is. It's fun. I mean, I love going back and forth. I didn't think the tweet was going to get that much
well, I did.
seen, and we have Colts fans as friends. Like, Carmelo's a buddy of ours that got on there, and he was like, whoa, hold on. I'm like, I understand. I love offensive line play. If you don't think I understand that the Colts have a fantastic offensive line and a great running backs, I mean, I'm aware. Colts Nation, this is going to be a blast week 1. I can't wait.
It's going to be a tough game. Like, Colts Nation, I think, has a bit of a sensitive spot over there. They're not liking the criticism. Like you said, they don't want to admit their own faults. But that's not our problem. At the end of the day, it's going to be a close game. I'm not going to lie. I see that being a really, really tough game. Like, it's
100%. 100%.
Like, it's not going to be a week 1 walk in and get an easy dub.
No.
In fact, I'm not going to lie to you guys. You'll see it here in a little bit. I got that penciled in as an L. I do. It's going to be a battle. That offensive line is a force to be reckoned with. They had some really talented young guys last year. That defense is scary. It's going to be a war. I think it's a winnable game, but it's going to be a war, Colts Nation. Make no mistake, you have our respect. That is a good football team, and it's a team we've talked about before, man. Like, in a few years, I think the Colts are going to be unstoppable. If they get that quarterback situation addressed, it's a dangerous team.
That's a very dangerous team. That defense is what's very scary. They have a lot of weapons. Kenny Moore and Forrest Buckner, and then they get Payne, I think his name is Pay. I don't know what his name is. Don't. But he's a really good pass rusher from Michigan. And then we got Buckner. We've seen enough of him. You know, Russell Wilson knows him all too well because he's been sacked by him. Some god awful amount of times. We get it. We understand that. But we got a defense. It's not like you guys are getting. We're not the Jets.
Yeah, the Jets aren't showing up. You still have to defend Russell Wilson. Like, I couldn't believe.
Still the NFC West champs.
I couldn't believe that they thought that they like. I think Seahawks fans know that this is going to be a tough game, but it's a winnable game. Whereas Colts Nation thinks this is going to be a blowout. Like, I don't get it.
It just I don't necessarily think that they're saying it's going to be a blowout, but they're like, put some respect on the name. But I am. It's me just saying you need to be self-aware. The receiving core in Indianapolis isn't very good. In my opinion, it's not very good. Michael Pittman Jr. thinks he's all that in a cup of beans. He's got 4 receptions for 12 yards. Shout out to Pat McAfee.
Well, and that's a good.
I don't understand. The receiving core needs to be addressed. If they all of a sudden get Julio, it's a wrap. There's a lot of big things that can happen in Indianapolis, but their defense is really good. Carson Wentz, if he remembers how to play football, that's awesome. I'm rooting for Carson Wentz. I don't think people really realize that. You aren't. We had this kind of discussion early in the offseason. Yeah. And I'm a guy that I want to see Carson Wentz succeed. He's a big dude, North Dakota State guy. I'm rooting for him to be successful. But I'm just going off of what last year said, and I'm also defending, the Hawks.
That's right.
This is a good defend the Hawks. Hell yeah, put some respect on it.
And people, I don't know if Colts Nation forgot that we got Chris Carson back.
Yeah,
Like some people I think seem to forget we have Chris Carson back. That's a nasty.
Carson's dude. Back, DK's back. I mean, they got corners over there, but they lost some talent over there. They lost Malik Hooker. They lost Xavier Rhodes. Mm-hmm. I think they can bring him back, right?
I'm not too sure.
Xavier.
I just know that like despite Indianapolis having a solid defense, a really solid defense, our offense is no joke.
No.
And having addressed that offensive line, there's a lot of potential there. We could easily. Hey, how did the Seahawks start offensively last season? Come on now.
Lights out.
Put some respect on our name. Let's go. So moving past week 1, the full 2021 schedule's out. Now there's some pretty good games on this schedule, man. I like the whole schedule, man. I'm not gonna lie. I think our bye week is in a good spot. I don't think we have a ton of really, really, really tough games back to back to back. I think that Thursday night, Sunday night transition is going to cause a bit of problems. But other than that, I like our schedule. I think there's going to be some exciting football games. There's some cool matchups that we
have a tough stretch in October where we play at San Fran, I think they're going to be really good.
Yeah.
I have that chalked up as a win, but that's because I think they're going to be playing two different quarterbacks. I think they're going to be playing Jimmy in week 4, and then I think they're going to end up playing Trey Lance in week 13. That's just my opinion on that.
Yeah.
I think that stretch in October, if we can come out, the thing that makes me excited about that October stretch is there's 3 primetime games. Primetime games for Seahawks fans means primetime Russ. Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks in primetime games. I don't know what the statistic is, but I know it's good. It's in Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll's favor. So I'm excited for that, no less. So that stretch kind of makes me a little bit ease out of it. Is Aaron Rodgers going to be a Green Bay Packer in week 10? It seems like he is. See Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers in November. That one scares me. Russell Wilson and the Seahawks cannot play in Green Bay.
No, if Aaron Rodgers is still on that team week 10, I don't see that being I don't see that being a win. I'm sorry, I don't. That's
for me. At least for me, that's not a dub. I'm excited for the Boxing Day matchup versus Chicago. Yes. That'll be exciting. That's a big game that you like. We get to see 2 rookie quarterbacks, right? We could see Kellen Mond in week 3 with Minnesota. We could also see Trey Lance very early. We could also see Jordan Love. I mean, there are Jared Goff we're going to see with Detroit.
Well, we're going to see Trevor Lawrence in week 8, and I think that game is going to be really special. I think that's a big revenge game for the Seahawks. There's a lot of former players and coaches over there right now.
Oh yeah. October 31st matchup, Halloween night. Darrell Bevel, I think Shoddy's down there now. Shaq Griffin's down there. There's a ton of former Seahawks down there, and then T-Law. T-Law's that's at home though. That's with the 12s bumping, with everything that's going on in the States. I mean, everything's looking great for full capacity stadiums. So I mean, that's awesome. We're gonna be. I mean, Trevor Lawrence coming to Lumen Field in week number 8. It's gonna be loud. It's gonna be loud.
Mm-hmm. What do you think's gonna be the toughest game of the season? For me, I have week 13 versus the 49ers. Sunday Night Football, primetime game. By then, I think the 49ers have their feet under them. I think that quarterback situation is likely resolved. They have their guy in there. Whether it's Jimmy Garoppolo or Trey Lance, I think that's going to be undoubtedly the toughest matchup of the season.
Anything to do with the Rams. See week 15, December 19th at LA. I can guarantee you right now it's going to be – I mean, we don't travel to LA.
No.
I say it every year. We do not travel to LA well, and we don't play the Cardinals well in Arizona. We don't travel well to both those games. No. So anything NFC West this year, I really am worried about. We could be at the bottom by that Sunday Night Football game in December, or we could be at the top. Like it could go any which way. Mm-hmm. And to speculate what's going to happen in December or what's going to happen in January is hard to say, but it's really fun to talk about what's going to go on with the Seahawks. What is your favorite game? I mean, to watch. What's you're going to be like? You're like, oh, that's my game that I want to see.
You know what? To start it off, just because it's going to be the beginning of the season, and I'm excited, and it's a team I like, and it's a guy I like. I am looking forward to that Titans game. I think that's going to be fun to watch. I really like watching Derrick Henry. I just like both teams a lot, so I think that'll be a lot of fun. But then you already said it. That Boxing Day game against Chicago is probably going to be the one I have circled. I'm excited to see Justin Fields. I think by then you've got a lot of games behind you now, relatively speaking, for a rookie quarterback. That is my highlight for sure.
I'm gonna jump right into the week 1 through week 7. Think about the running backs that we're gonna be playing against here. Week 1, we got Marlon Mack, Jonathan Taylor, that studly offensive line. Taylor Lewan and the Tennessee Titans just did a breakdown. If you haven't already checked that out, make sure you guys do. Link will be in the description. and Derrick Henry come into town. Then we got to play Dalvin Cook, Trey Sermon. And Trey Sermon, I think, is a huge sleeper for the San Francisco 49ers. I think at some point he takes over the starting role for them. Trey Sermon and Raheem Mostert. Cam Akers took off at the end of the season for the Rams. And then you got Najee Harris coming in for the Steelers. And then we got to play Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara is coming up. And the last time we played them in Seattle, it wasn't a fun time.
No, Alvin Kamara had a field day with us.
Yeah, he did. And then we got to play. And then it's like Jacksonville's got really solid running backs too. This is going to be a
James
tough
Robinson,
year.
Travis Etienne, like that's a hell of a backfield. That's a 1-2 punch.
That is a wild schedule. It's going to be tough. I think right now the Seahawks are ranked in the middle of the pack for strength of schedule, like 16th or 15th or something like that. So right around the middle, and that comes down to the NFC West. I really think it's going to be a bloodbath when it's all said and done. I think it's going to come out with the Seahawks on top, San Francisco at number 2, the Rams at number 3, and I think the Cardinals are just the last one out. Honestly, I just think they're a little bit older. I hate it because I think they're so good, and I like. It's not that I'm not trying to slag them, but I just think they're the odd one out. I think it's just too tough for them. They're just too young.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're too young where they need some veteran presence, and they're too old where they want that youth, right? Like they've got the young quarterback, and I don't know. Just I agree. I see Arizona being the odd man out here. It's hard to say though. Those are 4 really good teams, and like you said, all of those interdivisional games when you have to travel are tough. It's just there's so many moving pieces. It's going to be, like you said, a bloodbath. I don't know how you can honestly predict how it's going to play out.
I don't know. Too much to discuss, but it's always fun to kind of do these kind of breakdowns for everybody, and I don't care. It doesn't bug me.
I'm wrong all the time. Like I'm wrong.
Both of our wives will let us know that, eh?
Yeah. Okay. How about this? Looking at the schedule, give me a game that you should look at and go, that's not an easy win, but that should be a win that you think the Seattle could just choke on.
Oh my God. Week 17. As soon as I saw Detroit, I was just like, oh, week 17 and week 8. Jacksonville coming in, they're a younger team, rookie quarterback, everything. That should be a win, especially at home going into the bye. Can't look too far ahead. And that could be a trap game right before the bye week, coming off Monday Night Football, playing a rookie quarterback at home. That could be a trap game. And then I also see week 17, Detroit Lions, Jared Goff coming back to Seattle. He beat them last year. Who's to say he doesn't come back? And that's also could be a really good win for Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions.
All right, guys, I think that's all the time we have today. That was a good episode. There's not a lot to talk about. A lot of stuff we're waiting on, but it was good to kind of just brush up on everything that's going down. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button below. Chat us up on Twitter at MattyDub82, at BigCanada79. And if you guys are feeling it, check out our merch page. We got some cool King shit gear out there, HawksNest gear, M&R Sports. It's good quality shit. Check it out. And as always, go Hawks.
Let's go to eat a goddamn snack.